there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find myself. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find God. I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find God, I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find God,
Good morning. My name is Reggie Kapp, and I am a member and a licensed religious science practitioner of Columbia Center for Spiritual Living. This morning, I'm giving my time and talent as our presider. Welcome to our Sunday celebration. We would greatly appreciate it if you would share this live stream on whatever social media platforms you use so that we can bring more of us together in spiritual community. Thank you. So if this is your first time experiencing Columbia Center for Spiritual Living, we welcome you and thank you for joining us today. We want you to know, whoever you are and whatever spiritual path you're on, you are welcome and celebrated here. There are a variety of ways to connect and engage with others in spiritual community. We invite you to check out our website calendar at columbiacsl.com/events. Or you can email us at info@columbiacsl.com for more information, or you can always call our office at 410-750-8559. And now I get to share with you who we are and what we're up to. Our vision is to contribute to a world that works for everyone. You will hear us say that a lot. We really feel it. And so we are a diverse community of belonging and growth. We share the light and joy within ourselves while learning to see it in others. Guided by spirit, together we build a joyously engaged, inclusive community intent on uplifting and transforming lives. As a community, we strive to illuminate the spirit truth that we all belong to each other. And that calls for us to be inclusive, to embrace and celebrate our unique abilities and identities, such as all ages, all physical characteristics, all gender identities, all national origins, all faiths and spiritual paths, all sexual orientations, and all ethnicities and races, just to name a few, right? We grow together in classes, in workshops, in service to our shared spiritual community, and just by hanging out together. And we come together in spiritual community on Sundays to celebrate life. So let's get to it. Our founder, Reverend Dr. Ernest Holmes, taught, in principle, the great religions of the world do not differ as much as they appear to. That is why we take time each month to recognize and honor a variety of religions as sacred paths to God. I now invite licensed practitioner Rebecca Bell to lead us in our breaths of faith.
Good morning. Let's breathe in together as we honor each faith. As we take in the first breath, we honor Christianity as a path of love and forgiveness. As we take in the second breath, we honor Buddhism as the path of compassion and Four Noble Truths. As we take in the third breath, we honor Judaism as the path of ethical living through sacred law. As we take in the fourth breath, we honor Baha'i as a path of unity and peace. As we take in the fifth breath, we honor Islam as a path of surrendering to the will of God as the highest calling. As we take in the sixth breath, we honor Confucianism as a path of deliberate tradition. As we take in the seventh breath, we honor Taoism as a path of harmony and balance. As we take in the eighth breath, we honor all Indigenous peoples' traditions as paths that recognize and honor spirit in all of creation. As we take in the ninth breath, we honor Shintoism as a path of optimism and the inherent goodness of humanity. As we take in the 10th breath, we honor Hinduism as a path of knowledge, action, and devotion. As we take in the 11th breath, we honor Akan as a path that honors the divine, ancestors, and nature. As we take in the 12th breath, we honor our own faith, the science of mind, as a path of adherence to universal spiritual law and transformation through the commitment to our spiritual practices. And as we take in the final breath of this sacred ceremony, we invite you to hold sacred any and all faiths in all their multiplicity by knowing love as the highest power that guides them all. Namaste, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Rebecca. I love that sacred ceremony. I love honoring all paths to God. So we have a saying here, singing is like praying twice. So let's begin with a song. This morning, we're blessed to have Sahffi Lynne as our guest musician. Sahffi is an international musician, vocal coach, retreat facilitator, and ceremony guide, offering music, meditations, teachings, and retreats as medicine to illuminate our connection to our own divine inner knowing. Please join me in welcoming Sahffi Lynne.
Somos la luz del bosque, espíritu de todas edades. Somos la luz del bosque, espíritu de todas edades. Somos la luz divina, sabiduría de los mares. Somos la luz divina, sabiduría de los mares. Transformamos el dolor, trayendo todo a la luz. Transformamos el dolor, trayendo todo a la luz. Con el espíritu de la abuelita, cantando toda la noche, con la ayuda de la madrecita, cantando toda la noche. We are the light of the forest, the spirit of all of the ages. We are the light of the forest, the spirit of all of the ages. We are divine light, the wisdom of the seas. We are divine light, the wisdom of the seas. We transform pain, bringing all to the light. We transform pain, bringing all to the light. With the spirit of our grandmother, we sing all through the night. With the help of our dear mother, we sing all through the night. Somos la luz del bosque, espíritu de todas edades. el dolor, trayendo todo a la luz. Transformamos el dolor, trayendo todo a la luz. Con el espíritu de la abuelita, cantando toda la noche. Con la ayuda de la madrecita, cantando toda la noche. We transform pain, bringing all to the light. We transform pain, bringing all to the light. With the spirit of our grandmother, we sing all through the night. With the help of our dear mother, we sing all through the night. We are the light of the forest, the spirit of all of the ages. Somos la luz del bosque, espíritu de todas edades. We are divine light, the wisdom of the seas. Somos la luz divina, sabiduría de los mares.
For reminding us that we are the divine light. What a beautiful segue as we begin shifting our attention inward to engage in shared spiritual practice. We will have a contemplative reading by Mindy Derrick, followed by a guided meditation and affirmative prayer by licensed religious science practitioner Rebecca Bell. I invite you to release everything that might be distracting you and simply allow yourself to be fully present in this moment.
The Alchemy of Lead to Gold by Reverend David Alt. Science of Mind magazine, September 25th, 2023. We begin with two quotes by William Shakespeare. You are an alchemist. Make gold of that. And from Ernest Holmes' Words That Heal, page 222. The ceaseless movement of life is but a necessary complement of that which does not move. Alchemy was the medieval quest to discover an elusive elixir that could turn any base metal into gold. Primitive physicists overtook cultures with feverish pursuit for this ultimate of prizes. If you imagined gold as a representation of stability, then to discover such a mysterious formula would alleviate humankind of its basest fear, loss. Our primal need for security remains inherent within us, and our five senses still are intrinsically linked to survival. Even now, the five senses rule the behavior of many and cyclically prompt the same ancestral pursuit for an elusive elixir. Yet no invention, person, or path is a guarantee. No amount of doing can turn the finite into the infinite. Still, Holmes reminds us that there is something that greatly assists with our fears, a center in everyone that never moves, a stability, a still point. What is that center, the changeless nestled among the changing? The ability to see gold where only lead abounds. The ability to celebrate wholeness in the appearance of brokenness. If this is indeed possible, then what is the elixir we must discover to conquer the five senses? Imagine it as spiritual alchemy, an evolution in consciousness. Spiritual alchemy turns leaden attachments, wounds, entanglements, and stories into precious transformation in the laboratory of stillness, a place where divine presence unfailingly resides. In The Alchemist, Paolo Coelho writes, "This is why alchemy exists, so that everyone will search for their treasure, find it, and then want to be better than they were in their former life. Lead will play its role until the world has no further need for lead. Then lead will have to turn itself into gold." Today's affirmation: I am an alchemist. I use my power to see God in all things. And so it is.
And so it is. Let's continue on with our spiritual practice with a few moments of meditation and prayer. So I invite us to take a deep breath in together and release. And if it's comfortable and available to you, close your eyes and move within, knowing that as we are breathing together, we are moving into our own consciousness. Breathe in and release. Breathe in and release. And begin to imagine yourself bobbing in the ocean. The ocean is an amazingly gorgeous temperature. Cannot feel at all the separation between your skin and the ocean. There's no separation from where your body begins and the ocean takes over. Just experience that delicious movement in this flowing ocean and aware of yourself bobbing on that flow. And as you bob around on that ocean, imagine you begin to see other bobbing figures, also embracing and knowing that the difference of where their boundaries begin and end are absolutely indistinguishable from that ocean. And as you're feeling your body bobbing in that beautiful movement and flow, perhaps you're greeting other bobbing entities as they're moving through and bobbing on this ocean. And perhaps you're moving your body in joyful ways, moving arms or legs or other appendages, just bouncing and joyfully having an experience on this ocean from which you cannot distinguish your boundaries from the boundaries of the ocean. This is God. The metaphor of God as water, as the ocean, as us, as the entities bobbing. There is only water in different presentations. The water of the ocean as God, the water of the bobbing entities as ice, perhaps, as God. There is no separation. There is no boundaries. This is God. This is life. Take a moment and just experience some of the buoyancy and the freedom of knowing ourselves as that bobbing entity, always supported, always floating in the God, as there are no boundaries between the expression of individual lives and the ocean of God, which is life. As we come to the end of this meditative portion, perhaps move your body either in your imagination or in your physicality to experience that free-flowing form held up by the ever there ocean. And let's take this feeling into prayer, knowing that God is that ocean and God is all the bobbing expressions of itself. God is the ocean, God is the ice, God is the ocean, God is all. All of life is God. And knowing that while that is very hard for our conscious minds to understand, it is also the truth. It is also the truth. And so I know as we grapple with that information today, we grapple together, we play together, we experiment together, we celebrate together, we think together, we question together. That's what these services are for. That's what Columbia Center for Spiritual Living is. It's a place to come and practice and explore and be challenged and question and wonder and plan and devote our lives to the conscious understanding of the ocean and the ice cube, of the ocean and the bobbing entities as one. That is what our life is here. And we come here to practice that. And so today I am so grateful for this experience, for this time spent together, for this time spent together in community with each other at whatever time and space this is happening, and in community as we create a greater and greater community of love throughout our world. I am so grateful for the knowledge that what we do here in this moment is done in all moments. And that knowledge and understanding is such a beautiful gift. I am grateful to be here. I am grateful that today on October 1st, 2023, the weather is beautiful and the sun is shining, reminding me of the joyous expression of God as beautiful weather, as fun experiences, as the leaves beginning to change, as all of life changes. I am so grateful that we get to spend this time together. I am so grateful for this teaching, for the availability of our community to be able to speak and talk with each other, to understand, to challenge, etc. And so I just released this word with great love and great joy and great expression and acceptance of all that life has to give. So I release this word into the law that always says yes, that is always is. It is. Life is. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Ashe. Aho.
I am still buoyant. I love it. I love that. Thank you so much, Rebecca Bell. That was fabulous. And thank you so much, Mindy, for that reading. Wow, I'm in awe of all of it, of both of you. So let's continue moving inward with more music from Sahffi Lynne.
I am loving, forgiving, praying for your well-being. I am loving, forgiving, praying for your well-being. I am grateful, abundant, full of hope and grace. I am grateful, abundant, full of hope and grace. I am humbled to be human on this earthly plane. I am humbled to be human on this earthly plane. I see clearly within me a connection to this light. I see clearly within me a connection to this light, to this light, to this light, to this I am loving, forgiving, praying for your well-being. I am grateful, abundant, full of hope and grace. I am humbled to be human on this earthly plane. I see clearly within me a connection to this light.
Thank you, Sahffi, and thank you, everyone that has contributed this morning. I am Reverend Rafe Ellis, and I am especially honored and privileged to be with you this morning. Yes, I have a little bit of a different look this morning than the last time you saw me. So, for those that don't know what's going on, I had shoulder surgery on Friday, a very successful shoulder surgery. And all of my hair is gone because for the next little while I need to be able to comb my hair with a towel. So just to make life easier. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you all for your prayers and positive energy and for holding Deborah and I in consciousness. So I invite you to take a breath with me. This month might perhaps be my most favorite month ever as a minister. Um, this month we are going to be playing in the sandbox of paradox, which for me is paradise. And I thought we would start with a little bit of lightheartedness, um, the George Carlin version of paradox, because we really are surrounded by it. And if you've heard any of George Carlin's comedy, he questions why we live in apartments that are all connected together, why we park in driveways and drive on parkways. All of those are examples of paradox, that thing that is seemingly opposite when both are true, right? It is the thing that we resist, yet it is that place where we find the most brilliance that is available to us, in us, as us. Um, I want to take a moment to thank Don for his selection of the song for the announcement role by Jack Fowler, In the Silence. And in the words of that, perhaps one of the greatest paradoxes was in the words, when I find God, I find myself. And paradox is that place where, particularly in spirituality, it's that place where we get to challenge duality, where we get to challenge the either or, where we get to hold both places, the seemingly contradictory ideas together, right? In our particular faith tradition, in Science of Mind, we speak of oneness, and we speak of oneness in a world that certainly looks, feels, and tastes like separation, right? It certainly looks like there's a bunch of us here. And yet, what we know, when we know it, what's available for us to know, is that we're all one. Doesn't mean we're all the same, because we're not. But we are all one, meaning we are one substance expressing itself in multiplicity. And sometimes that's hard for us to wrap our human understanding around. And so we get this month, we're going to play in this realm of paradox. And I invite you to just kind of pay attention throughout the week to how many places paradoxical thinking comes up that we just kind of laugh about. The term jumbo shrimp, right? Because if we use shrimp to mean something little, the term jumbo shrimp, it's like, wait, which is it? Right? It can be both. And in fact, it always is the both and. And we'll get there. But first, we're just going to play in this realm of really beginning to witness where it comes up and where we resist the paradox of our own thinking. So it's probably really helpful for all of us to understand and embrace the reality that if we were raised in the United States of America, we were more than likely raised on a reward punishment paradigm, right? That things are either right or wrong, the binary. Things are either male or female. Things are either up or down. Things are either big or little. And based on that, we are either rewarded or we're punished. Now, why is it important to recognize that? Because when we begin to challenge that, our conditioning will argue with that. We come together on Sunday morning, we come together in classes, and we study, and we learn that our worth, that our value, that our very essence is perfection. And yet we observe the most imperfect behavior from ourselves and those around us. And it challenges which one is true. And what we're going to play with this month is they're both true. They're both true. The essence of us is absolutely whole, perfect, and complete. Excuse me. My shoulder, whole, perfect, and complete. And in the physical realm, I broke it. I didn't break the bones, but I broke parts of it. And in the infinite intelligence of life and God expressing as Dr. Charles, there's a repair for that. But if we think of it in terms of wholeness is the absence of the physical realm, we're going to constantly be challenged with wrapping ourselves around this. And it's not, it's the dichotomy that gets in our way. Nothing in life is either or. Can't be. We can't have oneness and have an or. Right? So we're dealing in the realm of perception. And what I most want to bring to your attention for you to kind of play with this week is in this realm of your own thinking, to really allow yourself to become aware of the two sides of the dialogue within you. There's a psychiatrist, Albert Rothenberg, who came up with the term Januszian thinking. And Januszian thinking is based on the two-headed Roman god of transitions and duality, of time and beginnings and endings. And it's that duality, that double-sided, if you will. And so pay attention to how much of your inner dialogue is based in it has to be one way or the other. That when you have thoughts that you dislike, rather than leaning into, yes, I thought that, yes, I am thinking that, our tendency tends to be to deny that we're actually thinking it. Right? Or we go to the other extreme and defend our right to think it. And I invite you to understand you don't have to defend your right to think anything. You're free to think whatever you want. And pay attention to what's operating that you feel you need to defend it. Because typically our defenses come from that place within us that's operating in that reward punishment paradigm of right and wrong, that there's only one way to do it. And we have a sense that somebody thinks we're doing it wrong, so now we have to defend that we're doing it right. And all of that is about getting attention, getting validated. The whole reward punishment system skews everything for us from the onset because it places our validation outside of ourselves. It gives our power away to everybody else's approval of us in order to know we're okay. It happens in as children, right? When we do what our parents want us to do, we get their love and attention. When we go against the rules, we get their attention, but it doesn't feel loving because we're being punished. That same thing carries into school. It carries into other social settings. It carries into our workplace. And it's so deeply ingrained in us that without intentional, conscious effort, we don't even know it's operating. And then when we gain a little bit of awareness, my experience is that it gets rather uncomfortable. And we're going to talk about that this month, getting comfortable with discomfort. Because that level of discomfort is actually a sign of healing. It's actually a sign of healing. Because we're beginning to challenge that unconscious comfort zone that just accepts what it was conditioned to believe. And I promise you, on the other side of every ouch, on the other side of every moment of discomfort, is an amazing hallelujah of realization that you truly are whole, perfect, and complete. That you always have been. And that does not mean you've always behaved perfectly. Right? Our behavior is evidence of our thinking. Our behavior is evidence of our belief systems. And we teach change your thinking, change your life. And what we're really changing is our thinking that brings our lives in alignment. It brings the outside in alignment with the inside, if you will. It brings the paradoxes together as both are true. Because I can have thoughts that are excruciatingly unholy and still be quite holy. One doesn't cancel the other. And where our healing comes is when we find the courage to be authentic, when we find the courage to own that, yes, this is what I know is true about me, and yes, this is what I'm thinking. And they're not even in the same neighborhood, because then we are empowered to heal. As long as we are living in that state of denial, first of all, denial empowers the very thing that we want to change. Because by denying it, we're justifying it. And by justifying it, we're empowering it. And so the very thing that is making us uncomfortable, we paralyze ourselves from changing by fixing it in place. Because we're operating in that reward punishment that if I own this, I'm going to be in trouble somehow. We were chuckling in the 1926 Science of Mind group on Thursday night that no matter how old we get, every once in a while, all of a sudden, there we are with our 3-year-old thinking, right? That I'm going to be in trouble. I don't even know what trouble means. I just know I'm going to be in trouble. And if we could begin to hold that lightly, to hold it lightly And to even say within ourselves, look at me, 63 years old, and I'm thinking I'm going to be in trouble because I think I'm 3 all of a sudden. What's actually true in this moment? Well, what's true in this moment is something happened that I instantly went to that conditioning of right and wrong. And in that moment, I was reduced to that 3-year-old that just wants to get it right so that I know I'm okay. All right. So that's what's operating. Great. No guilt, no shame. That's just what's operating. Cool. Now I know. Is any of it true? Nah. What is true? I'm grown. I get to choose. I get to even make mistakes and hold those mistakes lightly. And I get to correct course free of any guilt, shame, or blame. I get to do that. I haven't acted out of any maliciousness. I've simply made a mistake. Oh, okay. Course correct, moving on. And it's such a beautiful place that we get to. And I say get to because we don't have to. We really don't. But we get to. And so I'm going to invite you in this moment to take a breath with me, to go inward, to consult with that inner being, that inner reactionary child that needs to know, that wants to know that it is loved and supported. And to ask that child to set your intention for the week. What does that part of you want in order to know how loved and how precious and how valued that part of you has always been? And will you set an intention to honor that this week as best you can? I'll give you just a couple of seconds to hear that. Now I invite you to go within a little deeper and to know with me, to access consciousness that is the very nature of your being, to remember, to recognize that that is who you are, to remember that when you know God, you know you, and to know in this moment that you are created out of it, by it, to be it, to express it, that all of the peace that God is, I am, you are, we are. All of the love that God is, I am, you are, we are. All of the diverse, seemingly contradictory ideas that the infinite abundance of possibility is, I am, you are, we are that. We are the very paradox of one mind expressing its oneness in multiplicity. And so I acknowledge that, I embrace that, I celebrate that, and I speak my word, claiming and affirming that that is the activity this week in the awareness of all of humanity, a playful, loving, conscious embrace of differences, of coming together, a coming together that heals the lie of divisiveness, that heals the lie of separation, that experiences the truth of being. We are all different, and we are all one. Grateful, grateful, grateful. And so it is in this gratitude that I release my word, knowing it is the word of the infinite speaking itself into being. I let go, I let it be. And I invite you to join me as we say together, and so it is.
And so it is. Wow, we are all different and we are all one. Yes. Thank you for that. Boy, that's not an easy concept to really, truly grasp, but you're helping us. Thank you. And now it's time to practice the law of circulation. So please join me in speaking our prosperity affirmation together. I affirm that all Columbia CSL's accounts, now and continually, are filled with an all-sufficiency of visible funds to meet all its needs, wants, desires, and commitments, with a divine surplus from which we expand and share our abundance. And so it is. Yes, we will share our abundance. We do share our abundance. I love it. As you prepare to give now to the place where you are spiritually fed, Columbia Center for Spiritual Living, either by writing your check or using one of the online giving methods found on our website, I invite you to take your gift in hand. And if you're an auto-tither like me, hold your gift in consciousness and repeat after me. In a consciousness of abundance, I give freely, knowing that I am freely given too. Now I invite you to give as we listen to another musical gift from Sahffi Lynne.
A fresh new breeze is growing. The winds of change are blowing. Every moment is a miracle of life. The ancient wisdom has returned, and walking on this land we've learned that we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the elders, we are the children, we carry with us all that has ever been. We are the vision, circling once again. And it is timeless, it is blossoming in the lives we live and the songs we sing. We are reconnected to the spirit of the earth. We are reconnected to the spirit of the earth. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ay, 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 ay. Fresh new breezes growing, the winds of change are blowing. Every moment is a miracle of life. The ancient wisdom has returned, and walking on this land we've learned that we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the elders, we are the children, we carry with us all that has ever been. We are the vision, circling once again, again, again. And it is timeless, it is blossoming in the lives we live and the songs we sing. We are reconnected to the spirit of the earth. We are reconnected to the spirit of the earth. We are reconnected to the spirit of the earth. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. A fresh new breeze is growing, the winds of change are blowing. Every moment is a miracle of life.
Thank you, Sahffi Lynne. So I invite you to go within and know with me that the offering is the divine in the form of money, in the form of energy. Grateful for every gift that is given. Grateful that we give through Columbia CSL to do amazing work in the world. Grateful for each gift that sustains and grows this center and all that it is and all that it does, and multiplies the abundance of the giver at the same time. That paradox of reciprocity. Grateful, grateful, grateful. And so it is. So a couple of thank yous. Thank you, Reggie Kep, for being our presider this morning. Thank you, Mindy Derrick, for being our reader this morning. Thank you, Rebecca Bell, for doing our spiritual practice. Sahffi Lynne for our music. Thank you, Don Henderson, for being our wizard behind the curtain and doing all of the setup for our live stream. Thank you, Mary Jane Thompson and Donald Lewis, for our sacred readings. And thank each of you for being here. And so let's move to our affirmation for the week, something that we can take with us. I'll read it through once, and then I invite you to read it with me wherever you happen to be. I release the need to make anyone wrong. I joyfully embrace the both and of life. Let's say that together. I release the need to make anyone wrong. I joyfully embrace the both and of life. I invite you to keep that with you this week. If you desire support in helping you shift that or anything for that matter, we have an amazing group of licensed religious science practitioners that are happy to pray with you. And they do private sessions where they will help you remember the truth of your own being. You can reach out and connect with them at our website, www.columbiacsl.com/practitioners/ You can also submit a prayer request to prayer@columbiacsl.com. We will hold you in prayer all week long. Next week, we will be back in person and we will have our town hall meeting immediately after the service. And yes, we did have an after chat scheduled, and I left it scheduled just in case I felt up to it. And in all honesty, the arm is starting to get a little cranky, so I'm going to bow out of that for after service today. However, the link does work. And so if you want to gather with one another and continue the conversation about paradox, I invite you to do so. And so until I see you on next Sunday, please hang out, watch the announcement rolls so that you're informed about what's happening. I love you dearly. I will see you next week. Bye.
A fresh new breeze is growing. The winds of change are blowing. Every moment is a miracle of life. Close my eyes, I open my heart. I'll take a deep breath, let the healing start. I lift my hands, I plant my feet, I let love in. I feel the beat that's calling us to rise, rise, spirit rise up, rise in me. I let in my soul, I clear my mind. I'm here and now, in present time. The power of 1,000 suns lighting up the dark. Oh, we rise as one. Oh, rise, rise, spirit rise up, rise in me. Spirit to heart, hand in hand, no turning back, onward to promised land. Do you feel the power of 1,000 suns lighting up the dark? Oh, we rise as one. Love's calling, calling out your name. Love's calling. That's why we came.